Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joy at Work. It's really good to be with all of you today. Hope you're doing well. It's February 5, 2021. It kind of still feels odd to say that. It's also Black History Month, second month of the year. Hopefully, you're celebrating it in your own way and taking time to recognize the Black people in your life who continue to make positive contributions to society, to your group, to your organization, whatever it might be. All right, today I want to talk about strengths and weaknesses, or at least start a conversation about strengths and weaknesses. So this might continue for a few weeks. We see. I believe it was Peter Drucker and others have said things very similar that says you cannot achieve success as a company, at least, by building on the weaknesses of your employees. You have to focus on their strengths. So to succeed, we need to focus on our strengths. But what are our strengths? There's so many tools that you can use right now to determine your strengths. A common one is Strength Finders that people use, but there are other psychometric tools that you can use, like Colby or DISC or HBDI, that kind of give you an insight into who you are and various perspectives on what you're good at, or at least your tendencies and your leanings. These are all great. But I once heard it said that whatever people compliment you about is your superpower. And to me, that's really how we know our strengths. What people compliment us on, those are our strengths. Yeah, we can do all these other tests, and I'll talk about those at another date. But in my view, where we get the most and the richest form of feedback is when people who are close to us, who will be truthful with us, call us and say, look, this is what you're good at, and this is what you're not good at. And why is this important? It's important because I believe we need to take ownership of this information and use it to our benefit. Too often we find ourselves in positions where we're asked to do things that really don't tap into our strengths, and that makes it very difficult for us to succeed. Uh, you know, we live in a time where I think people often just hand off their jobs and their careers to others and expect them, others, whoever those others might be, their manager, their employer, to determine where they go. But I want to challenge you today to like identify your strengths, learn your strengths from people, and then find jobs, find situations, find environments where your strengths will be maximized, right? You need to make sure clearly that your weaknesses don't jeopardize your ability to succeed. But really, what we all want to do is be in positions where our strengths are really put at the center of the action. I always think about this, having played football, soccer for most of my youth and early adulthood, actually, and played pretty competitively, how coaches are always very particular on where they position people. You are asked to play in positions that bring your strengths to the forefront. I was good at keeping the ball. I'm good at passing the ball. I was good at dribbling. I wasn't necessarily the fastest person, maybe didn't even have the greatest work ethic. So putting me in a position like right fullback or a winger or a defensive midfielder or a box to box midfielder wasn't the best thing for me because my strengths were not covering large grounds of space, if you will, or running back or chasing, but I could pass the ball, I could dribble, and I could score. So I was always put in attacking midfielder positions because that's where I excelled. Now, even though I was an attacking midfielder, still went to training every day, still did drills. So worked on my passing, worked on my vision, still continued to work on those things I was good at. So just because we have a particular strength, maybe you're a good communicator or a good listener, doesn't mean you stop working on it. No, you keep working on it. And you try to make sure again that your deficiencies or weaknesses don't, inhibit your strengths. But what's most important here is that once you identify your strengths, you put yourself in a position, you actively take ownership and put yourself in a position where your strengths can be put to use. Don't look to somebody else to change a job to fit you per se. Find a job where your strengths can be put to use. And how do you identify your strengths? By calling those close to you, asking them for honest feedback on what you're good at. So, strengths and weaknesses. Look forward to continuing this conversation. Have a weekend. Stay safe. I'm not a Chiefs fan, but go Chiefs.